That's why he came to love me so. He loved me beyond all my faults and so Daddy wants to, who gonna take care of my okra? Well, I can't come now, baby, because it's time for me to pull my greens.
Yeah.
Selfless. He was selfless.
Yes.
It wasn't about him. Do y'all hear Jesus in the story? Jesus did not come into this world to fulfill his own purpose, but he came into this world to fulfill the purpose that God had created him for, his only begotten Son, and that purpose was to save us from our sin so that we would have an opportunity to become selfless, to become humble, to learn how to forget about ourselves for just a little while and think about somebody else. Most of us have too much food, too many clothes, and too big a house. Most of us ride around, and there's only one, maybe two people in our big old car. And we won't pick up a stranger or take them to the store, let alone bring them to church. Selfish. We are selfish. But I'm talking about two great men that were selfless. They had a purpose. God poured into them what their purpose was to be here on earth. And they came into this world and they did what God sent them to do. And then Jesus on the cross said, it's finished.
Yes.
And went home to be with the Lord. Daddy on August 19th said, baby, I fought a good fight. I kept the faith. I'll finish my course. I'm going home to be with the Lord. Amen. And so when we look at this passage of scripture and we begin to talk about emptiness, we have to understand that when we were born, God put within us, our purpose and everything that we needed to have in us to fulfill our purpose.
Yes.
Y'all missed that, so I'm going to say it again. When that baby over there was born, Kamari already has in him everything that he is going to need to fulfill his purpose. And as he grows and as he develops, God will begin to reveal his purpose and also to reveal that, baby, what's in you is for you to fulfill your purpose. It didn't matter that Daddy didn't have a formal education. My daddy was a master of every trade. The house that he built on abundantly, that we built, he was the first black man in the community to build his own house. Daddy worked at a carpenter by day, and then he and I would get in his truck and take all of his tools, and we would go out on abundantly, and we would stay at that house, and we built that house with our hands. Yeah, I do know how to put up sheetrock, lay paneling, and lay tile. I thought about how could I sum up my daddy's story and his purpose while I'm talking about Jesus' purpose. And I thought about a nursery rhyme that I loved. It was called Mary Had a Little Lamb. And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Well, Daddy had a little girl. And everywhere that Daddy went, Shirley was sure to go. If Daddy picked up a screwdriver, Shirley had one. If Daddy picked up a hammer, I had one. If Daddy got under the car, I got under the car. If Daddy went out into the garden to pick up a hoe, I picked up a hoe. If Daddy went to places he wasn't supposed to go, guess what I went to? But I told you that my daddy did better by his bad than most people do with their good. Daddy took doing wrong and taught me how to be right. When Daddy would go to the places, so he would take me to try to keep himself out of trouble with Mama. So it was segregation back then. So Daddy would go to his favorite saloon and he would park the truck on the side and give me something to appease myself. And then he would get out and he would go in the back, not the front, of the saloon, and he'd gambling, drinking, whatever he was doing, and eventually I'm like, I'm hungry, I'm ready to go home. Well, y'all want to know why I'm so bold and I'm not afraid of nothing? I ain't afraid of no white folks. I would get out of the truck and not go the same way that Daddy went, but I would march my little bitty behind through the front door and walk in. And my daddy was so popular and so well known, nobody messed with me. They simply said, Stuart, come get this little gal out of here. And he knew his playtime was up, and he would come on out, and he was And then he never whipped me because he knew he was wrong. But then when I thought about some of the places that Daddy took me when I was home, and I was reflecting, and I was meeting some of the children of his that were not under our roof. Hello.
Yeah.
When I was going to school, I used to be embarrassed because every time I turned around, somebody was walking up to me and said, your daddy is my daddy. Whatever. Get out of my face. My daddy's your daddy. And I started laughing it off. Papa was a rolling stone. That's what I started thinking. Wasn't nothing else I could do because Daddy had a trademark.
Yeah.
And every one of them suckers, boys and girls, had our nose. And was nothing I could do with them. You know, you probably are okay. Just leave me alone. But what I had to understand as I think about God's relationship with his only begotten Son, as he now has to put himself in that person of his Son so that he could come here and empty himself for me, they had to forget about the daddy and the father relationship. You remember Jesus was on the cross and said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? So they had to forget about their abundant relationship so that the Jesus that we know could come down and die for God's illegitimate son and daughter. So this past weekend, I had to let go of my I'm daddy's baby girl syndrome, and I had to embrace some of those children that came along that didn't go up in our house. But as I began to meet them and meet their mothers, I'm like, oh, Daddy, we took food to their house. I remember that. So I remember, and it started coming back. But what I had to do is I had to empty myself of me, and this is my daddy, and I'm daddy's girl, and I'm daddy's, I forgot I wasn't even his oldest. I'm daddy's oldest girl. I'm his oldest daughter, and I'm not. I thought I was. I didn't realize Jeffrey was 6 months older than me. I'm telling you, how Daddy was a rolling stone. But even in that, Daddy taught something that I want to put into my son and my grandson. Daddy took care of the children in the house, and Daddy took care of the children out of the house. Because when we ate, they ate just as much as we ate. Because some of those care boxes, we cared to those various homes. I remember those mothers this weekend. It came back like it was just yesterday.